Welcome to the Heartwork Podcast, where we delve into stories, struggles, and triumphs of entrepreneurship, leadership, and personal growth. I'm Dr. Sara.
And I'm Dr. Marisa. We're here to guide practitioners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and those just navigating the complexities of life on a journey of discovery that explores the dance between passion and strategy, heart and hustle.
With candid conversations, insightful interviews, and plenty of laughs, get ready to uncover how leading with heart can transform your business and life. Let's dive in.
Y'all, welcome back. Today is Sara and I. We are going to yap. Okay. So we're going to sit here. We're going to yap with you. And we're going to talk about imposter syndrome and showing up with different postures, because I feel like I have spent periods of time in my life, and this is a skill and a talent of mine. So please hear me when I say this from my heart of like, this isn't a piece of me that I'm trying to evolve or change. It's something that I just notice. I have this capacity and this gift to show up in different rooms, show up with different groups, show up with different individuals. And I really energetically can match what's happening in the room. Like I have the capacity to kind of mold and chameleon into different groups, if you would. Like there's always something I can find interesting from a group. There's always something that I can find appealing. And that's a capacity that I think I have learned from watching my dad develop his skills in networking and meeting different people and creating conversation. And so when I say mold and chameleon, I don't mean like change myself, but I do want to address that because there can be times where you actually notice yourself going into performance in that space versus just being present and just saying, oh, cool, these are people that are really interested in XYZ. Like, this is what I'm going to pull from my own frameworks and my own perspective and my own experience and understanding to help relate in that space with them, meet people where they're at, right? Versus feeling like, oh my God, I need to prove that I'm worthy of having this conversation with you in this moment. And I think we can get really stuck in paralysis between those spaces of like feeling like we can resonate, we can find meaning together, we can find belonging in a group that we're starting to explore, while also at the same time dancing between not trying to force ourselves to quote unquote fit into what that room is becoming. And the beautiful balance, the beautiful tension is finding where you fit and staying authentic and true and strong to the person that you are and allowing yourself to dance. I think of it like a Atari, right? Like you got the two sides, your little ping pong, like you want to dance in the middle. You want to be able to, like, if you recognize yourself going into performance, redirect. If you recognize yourself becoming too overtly like in agreement or too overtly like present to try and feel seen in that way because you're trying to feel better about the way that you're showing up or something. It's that like, again, just beautiful tension point where if you have an understanding of your worth comes from yourself and that you are worthy of being present in whatever room you're at, that capacity, that confidence, that magnetism, that, did I say self-presence already? But like that honoring of yourself, who you know you are to be, is going to be so much more attractive and so much more engaging and inviting to the people that you are stepping into those new spaces with.
I loved how you brought up your dad because my mom, whenever I was younger, she would always go, I always remember it vividly, in a grocery store. We'd be in a checkout line and we would literally be in that checkout line, in my perspective as a young child, forever and for hours, because she was literally talking to every single person in that room, because she was naturally just beautifully able to connect to human beings. And I always hated it as a child, but I also see it as such a gift now, for the sake of what you're saying in the side of being able to connect and see people and genuinely want to know about them. And it also, like you're saying, it's really easy to like force yourself to be somebody different to connect, or like if you're feeling like an imposter in a room or in your business, in your life, it's really easy to put on a suit almost. It's like you're putting on a different shell of a person to become something else so that you don't feel a certain way about yourself. And it's crazy because within that, then it's really easy for you to also look to the things that are really glittery to tell you that your life could look a different way. But that is just glamour. and that is an illusion of what a life could look like. And so when we look to the sparkly or glittery things, it truly is it's not the real thing a lot of times, and it may not necessarily be truly in alignment with your life. And, gosh, I've known this and felt this so many periods of times of my life, and I felt this in many different organizations along the way. I felt that in my season of life when it comes to just how well my business has done. I mean, shoot, I just have felt it this past freaking year when I feel like my level of imposter syndrome essentially landed when I expanded my business. We had tremendous growth and my revenue increased. However, so did my expenses. And so because of that, my level of imposter syndrome almost came to this point of my level of growth did not, and my level of revenue did not continue to climb the way I anticipated it to. And so all of a sudden I found myself to where I was really making the same amount of money as I was prior to us even expanding. So I landed in this really weird, crazy tension space of like, well, crap, I'm not who I said I was because I expanded and I have this beautiful building, have this huge, ginormous team, should be doing all these things. Now and my bank account doesn't show anything different. Especially, I feel like it's really easy to look at imposter syndrome when you look at bank accounts. It's kind of crazy. And when we chase money that way, and I really felt like I was a major failure, felt like I was a major, like, piece of scum almost, because it makes you really doubt yourself. All of a sudden, you've done all these things and created these aspects, and then in the same vein, not seeing it move the way that you anticipated it to go. And one of the things I just have to, for one, say just about that, because it was also a journey for me. I had to like healing and doing the heart work is not sometimes just somebody telling you that like, okay, well, this is just one of those moments and you're going to get through it and you need to just change your behavior. I'm sorry, that's not how it works. It just is not. Like, it doesn't mean that something can't all of a sudden switch and something can't move and evolve because you've already been doing a lot of the work. You and I know that to be true too, where all of a sudden something tremendously just changes and you're like, I don't even know what the freak just happened, but I feel like a completely different human right now. So it doesn't mean that something can't switch fast. However, typically when you are sitting in tension and you're sitting with yourself in that space, you can't just switch a button and have that turn off and then turn on to a different experience. There is a rhythm of understanding and opportunity to discover why you are feeling a certain way that you are. I had to really go to my identity around finances. Like, that was a huge journey for me this past year and a half. Like, truly, like, it wasn't just a place where, like, okay, well, I feel like an imposter. Now I need to identify that. But it's like, I had built this identity around the life that I was living and creating and putting out to the world. And it all revolved around what my finances and the success of my life looked like. And when then that's not there, that identity then got questioned and it got squeezed a little bit, you know? And so I had the opportunity to go there versus just be like, well, I'm just going to muscle my way through this and know, okay, I'm fine. It's fine. It's okay. We're going to work harder. We're going to do all this. Like, that's not that wasn't at least the answer for me. And what I'm going to invite y'all to know is if you are feeling this insecurity, if you are feeling imposter, if you're feeling these levels of you trying to be somebody else outside of the space that you are currently in, there's a reason for that. And the opportunity is to try to understand what is the undertone to that. Is it insecurity of what your worth based off of your finances? Have you built a level of success and been told that the only way that you are going to be worthy is to have a life that looks perfect and built around this level of money and notoriety and fame? Is it because you're afraid of success? So you're like literally sabotaging yourself out of it. Like, like, is there literally avenues to which there's a level of a voice that's been in your head for a long time that's kept you from even stepping into your true version of yourself. There's so many facets of that. We can dive into so many of those, but it's getting to the root of why you are starting to feel the way that you do. And just again, a reminder that it's not always just one little quick switch of a flip to where you won't feel like an imposter anymore.
No, it can be like a whole need for like a nervous system recalibration. Like we
Uh-huh.
talk so much about this in the health field because that's the field that you and I both work in and have built careers around. Like the body keeps the score, right? The body remembers things, it stores the physical trauma, it navigates and tries to enact resilience, and sometimes it compensates and all the things in between. Like your emotions, your conditioning, your frameworks, the things that you say to yourself, what goes on in your brain, what goes on in your heart also will dictate like what the baseline place is that you respond to everything else in your world.
Oh,
And I think it's such a complex thing because healing and identity work and inner work and understanding yourself happens in layers.
mhm.
However, it's also such a empowering thing because you can almost like disassociate a bit from it in the sense of like helping to give it a external like picture. I always think like if I'm starting to get real like my thing, I'll get real self-critical. I'll start overanalyzing everything I said, overthinking everything that I did, and I'm like, what is this like critical me coming out to play? Like what are you where are you coming from? Like what's happening? Okay, I'm just going to put you over there. I'm looking at you. Girl, what are we
Mhm.
doing? Where is it? Is this really truth, or is this just the baseline that you've immediately dropped down into because you're so far into your head that you're not in your body anymore?
Right.
And I think that could be a practice for all of us because it's not something like you said in the quick switch, but it really can be through time and repetition and learning how to recognize that pattern, learning how to speak more kindly to the self, learning how to stand in that place because you can sabotage your way out of the joy that you're looking for in life. Feeling like you don't deserve it. When's the next shoe gonna drop? What's happening next? This isn't real. This isn't gonna last. All of those, like, pessimistic thoughts coming back into play. Oh my gosh, I have to share this, with you because my sister Jules, who we actually interviewed on the podcast, oh god, like, a year and a half ago now. She was one of our first, like, interview she was our first interview, I think.
Mhm. Yes, she
She
was.
she is now getting her master's with UPenn in positive psychology. And part of her, like, final semester's work is teaching about a couple different concepts. And so, actually, when I got back from a trip last weekend, she asked if I had an hour, and she taught me about optimism.
Mhm.
And she talked about 2 facets of this, and there are 2 definitions of it, and I'm really gonna try to explain this well so that I don't dishonor her presentation and how she presented it and all of her study. But essentially, there's like the embodiment of the personality with it, right? Like you just naturally like are a typically more optimistic human being. You like embrace trying to find like the silver lining in things, or you may fall to a default of just like kind of always having your guard up, like wondering if it's going to be okay or if it's actually like more of like a realist, right? Like you can have personality traits and have like a certain posture that you show up with that falls in one of those 2 categories. On the flip side, then I think she also called it the directional space. It's essentially how you respond to the events that are kind of happening in your world. So, for example, and let's just take, she took like weightlifting and we were doing it like centered around fitness. So, let's take someone who's, I don't know, learning how to lift a really heavy squat or something like that. And an optimist may fail the squat and say, okay, great. I got to learn from this. Like it didn't work. I wonder where it is. Maybe I didn't load the bar right. Maybe I didn't warm up enough. Like maybe like I just ate kind of funky last night and didn't get the best sleep, so I didn't perform the best. It tends to be like an external reason that you kind of anchor to versus a pessimist may go in and say, God, I really just fucking suck. Like, I can't do this. I'm not training enough. I don't have the greatest information. Like, I just stink at this. Like, my body's failing. It's never going to learn how to do this. And the pessimist tends to bring it all internally and like embody that it's me that's done it wrong. Versus if they maybe just put like the The trick for the pessimist is to really kind of, well, try and anchor it to something outside of you, because that can actually pull you out of the deep well that you have just started to bring your body and your emotional state into, making it all about you versus like spreading it outside of you. And I thought that concept was really interesting in the way that people do show up. And I've noticed some more of that, even just in others, in the way that they speak and the way that they share about things that are going on in their life. You can kind of hear the dictation of it. And obviously, that's taking like black and white of like optimism, pessimism. And there's so much like gray space in the in between. When you're trying to study something and learn something in theory, you tend to have to put things into categories, even if it's just for the sake of understanding and, further development. But there's a lot of individuals that go through their lives and they're not like in crisis. Nothing around them is like burning up in flames and on fire. And we're like, so we're at this baseline, right? We're not like anxious, depressed, and like dealing with a lot of grief or having gone through something really challenging in life recently. Like, we're just kind of living in the everyday. But that still doesn't bring like the extra essence into the picture. And that's what I'm learning like with her and through her in this positive psychology is like, cool. It's not the study of psychology of how to get someone through their crisis mode, but really how to continue to help elevate and enhance people's lives. And if we learn more about ourselves, understand who we are at the base of everything else, that's where we can actually be the most open to stepping into new spaces, to stepping into new rooms, to stepping into different things that may scare us or make us feel like, do we actually belong here? But like, no, I'm going to trust that I feel drawn to this for a specific reason and show up in that way to allow that experience to infuse your life with a little increase of elements. Most of the time when we're feeling like imposter syndrome or when we're feeling like we don't belong in this space, we actually do want to belong there. We're just questioning whether or not we meet the quote unquote arbitrary qualifications to be there. At the end of the day, is it really due to a specific external metric, or is it just in the posture that you actually show up present and engaged and open and wanting to learn? Because someone somewhere else stepped into that space for the first time feeling the exact same way. And then
Mhm.
now you've gone back several times. This, I want you to think about not just in a physical space of like joining a group or like meeting new people, but literally metaphorically with every new experience or every new situation that naturally life is going to bring your way as life continues to unfold and evolve for you. There's either a way that you can say, I don't really know why I'm here right now. Do I need to be here? Do I need to go somewhere else? Do I need to shut down? Like, you can figure out where you're not resonating and where you're being drawn away from. But that oftentimes is a more stronger feeling than like feeling drawn to somewhere and wondering if you are the person that's worthy to experience that, to have that, to embody that. You talked about finances there. You had to level and step up into a place of expansion, of in growing your business, of in growing your team. And that required you to then invest back in the business. And so the finances are going to look very different for a period of time, but we can get so like in our brains and nervous about it. Yet the actual proof and physical evidence is like, look at the decisions and the passions and the call that you followed to create something new and different, that the payoff may not be right in that immediate sense, but like, do you still feel at peace and really good with that decision, regardless of what the data may show, but the data may continue to change?
Right. So you made me, as you were talking, it made me think about when you step into something and you're drawn to something, and also you're evolving as a human, like I've had to do, you've done at the same time. In the way that you were talking about, like the level of optimism and just like what you're looking at that way, it reminded me of just like what energy is
Mm,
and what almost like vibration looks like, and what it feels like. And it's something so unseen. In the nervous system world, we all like our cells are literally made of a vibrational tone in every single human body and every single like aspect. This molecules literally like have a vibration to them. if you look at quantum physics, they talk about that everything has literally a frequency to it. And for one, if your nervous system is dysregulated, you're going to give out a very dysregulated frequency, along with, and at the same point, you're going to receive that back to you. And so one of the things that was very attuned to me just in a recent situation is I went into something feeling very authentic and feeling very just in line with myself, feeling very much like, okay, I don't need to be anybody else. I feel very confident in who I am and what I have to bring to the table and what I have to offer. And it's wild when you step into that space and see what then is returned back to you, to where it's like I added to this space without being requested to add. I just added to this space because of who I am and the frequency that I have to offer and the gift that I have to offer because it's who I've been created to be. And then in turn, truly got alignment from people that were also seeking that and were wanting to be around what I had to give, the frequency, the vibration, whatever, the energy that we're going to just say the energy side of that. If I would have gone in, and there's not one, I think that the crazy part about this is there's not one way or wrong way to do it either, because all you can be is where you are. So if you were dancing with a journey of imposter syndrome or feeling like you are not enough, you you can't literally like blink your way out of it. You have to dance in it and be in it, and I've been there before too, where it's like I've had to literally be in that space and feel that dysregulation, feel that frequency that was existing. And in turn, then I've also been in situations where I've literally put myself in situations where I was literally getting that energy back at the same time, where I was meeting people that were very dysregulated also, like
Yeah.
meeting people that were, it's like you're literally going to see a mirror of what you are extending to other people at the same time. And my last thing to just say on this is like when you truly get to come from a place of honoring yourself and honoring your heart and honoring where you feel like you're being led to go, that truly has so much power. It literally, you never know, like it may not look like it has power. It may not put you in the limelight with other things or results that you may think is what is, again, on paper or what people may think is sparkly or glittery. Um, but I will tell you that itself has a vibrational power when you step into that. And the fruit of what it's going to extend from your life is literally going to be tenfold than what you are going to receive on the back end if you're not really stepping into your true power and who you truly are. So process it, be in the dance with it, and let your like true life fucking glitter. That's the glitter that people want, like that's the sparkle that this world desires and wants. That's I know what I want for my fucking life, So, and what I want is why you and I literally can go to a freaking hotel room this past weekend and literally yap, even though we Marco Polo every freaking day, like it's just like that just can continue because there is so much beautiful alignment and energy exchange. So,
Amen.
So thank you for joining us on another episode of the Heartwork Podcast. We hope today's conversation has inspired you to lead with heart in your business and life.
If you enjoyed this, subscribe so you never miss a release, rate our show, leave us a review, get on our VIP email list, and join our exclusive Facebook group, The Heartwork Life, to plug into our community and learn from us and other heart-led entrepreneurs on a weekly basis.
We look forward to chatting with you next time.
Bye!